Yeah, if I pass out,
Stevie
Stevie knows what to do.
I got you back.
Steve's on standby.
Hold on. Don't want to drop that turtle.
Woo!
So last night I heard some coyotes to the north of me. Let's see what we hear tonight. It's a little quieter. You can see how dark it is here. A lot of the campers have left. So maybe we'll hear something. Hey y'all, welcome to Lisa's Escapades. Boy, do I have a story for you today. This story comes out of the Panhandle of Florida, and it happened back in December of 2024. And this couple that told me this is one of my subscribers. And this property that I'm going to tell you about, the people that own this property, they own quite a few acres, and it sits right on a lake. They had cleared this one area out by the lake so that they could go out there and camp and enjoy themselves, but they haven't built a house there yet, but they want to. And they were out there camping, and the girl was, sitting there in the hammock looking out over the lake, and her husband had gone out in the canoe and was fishing. Well, while he was out in the canoe fishing, she kept hearing a bunch of splashing going on, like kids playing in the lake, which she thought was weird, but she just thought it was her husband. So she's sitting there, she decides to play the guitar, so she's sitting there practicing guitar. And as she's practicing the guitar, she keeps hearing the snaps in the woods, like, sticks breaking. So she thinks, oh, it must be a raccoon or something, or somebody out there, some sort of animal. So she doesn't really pay it much attention, but she just keeps playing. Well, eventually it starts to get dark out, and the sun starts to set, and her husband rolls up on shore. Well, they decide to start cooking dinner, so they start cooking dinner, and as they're cooking dinner, she mentions to her husband, she goes, well, hey, were you making a bunch of splashing out there? And he goes, no. He goes, if I was, you wouldn't have heard me anyway, because I was way on the other side of the lake. So when he said that, she kind of got concerned and said, well, I heard something out there that sounded big in the water. And he says, oh, it's probably fish or something. So he just shrugged it off. And then after they ate dinner, they decided, let's go around and look at the perimeter of the area and just make sure. So they're walking around in the dark, and they're looking around, and they see some trees snapped here and there, but nothing major. And they walked around for quite a while, didn't see anything. So they decided to work their way back to camp. Well, they're sitting in camp, and they kept hearing the noises, nothing major. But in the distance, they could hear like a scream, almost like a howl. But, he said, oh, it's probably just coyotes or whatever. So they eventually get in the tent to go to bed, and they had just dozed off. And after they dozed off, they woke up to what sounded like somebody taking tree limbs and snapping them over their knees to make a fire. So he thought that was kind of odd. So they just laid there and they listened. And she was freaking out. She wanted to go. She said, somebody's out here. Somebody. He goes, oh, no, it's just probably an animal. But this went on for a while, and it sounded like something big snapping sticks. So finally they dozed off and they fell asleep. Well, in the middle of the night, they woke up a couple more times to what sounded like thumping and something running around their tent. But they just figured it was deer or a raccoon. So they fell back asleep. The next morning when they woke up, they decided, hey, let's go around and look and see if we see anything. So they go back out where they were, and they see a bunch of trees just laying there on the ground that weren't there the night before. So now they're freaking out because they realize that whatever did this had to have had hands. This couldn't have happened. So now they're concerned there's a human out there or a poacher or something, and it's backed up to like an electrical power line. So he's immediately thinking human. She doesn't know what to think, but she just wants to leave. And because there's only one way in and one way out, she says there can't be anybody else out here. It's got to be something else. And then her husband kind of thought, that's kind of weird because there is only one way in here and we haven't seen anybody else. So they decided they were going to leave a little bit early. They were supposed to stay one more day. They decided to leave, and they left, and they called their friend and told their friend about it. Said, man, I think there's somebody on your property. And the friend said, that's really strange because my family was out there, and we were woken in the night by things that were making loud noises out there as well. But we just thought it was an animal. But they were just concerned because, when they told him that there was trees laying everywhere, they knew that it was something more than just a normal animal. So that's the story. They never really saw anything, but they heard a whole lot and they saw things laying there. They didn't see any footprints or anything. The area was quite grassy, so they didn't have, and there was quite a lot of leaves on the ground from the leaves falling off the trees. But that's their story. I thought it was a very interesting one. And that story came from about 280 miles northwest of where we caught that image on thermal. So I just wanted to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for listening and watching. And I appreciate you. And until next time, I'll see you then.